Hello, friends, and welcome to the Weekend Catch-Up Club, the coffee morning show brought to you live every Saturday direct to Facebook and available later at youtube.com/gamertag. Today, I am back again with some members of our gaming community, the wonderful James McClellan from A Mid-Game Crisis, and popping his podcasting cherry for the very first time today, we have Chris Munoz. Welcome, lads. How you all doing?
I'm good, thank you. And well done for pronouncing my surname correctly.
Yes, well, I took Spanish in high school. I roughly know like the accents and how to pronounce the was it the S versus the y sound for different letterings.
To be honest, you probably know more Spanish than I do, so
Jamie,
you pronounced mine correctly as well, but that's to be expected. So I don't do, but still waking up. But
well, you're a fellow Scot. So if I can't pronounce the Scottish names, I may as well just hand over my Celtic testicles and just move to England or something, So.
Even here, I have had some really interesting pronunciations, up to and including being once called McGregor, and I thought, there's nothing in my name that resembles McGregor. So,
well, apart from the M, no, it's not even MC because it's MAC for Mac Gregor, yeah. So that's just outrageous.
And then after that, just a different name.
The MACs are always controversial,
So anyway, lads, cheers. This is the Coffee Morning Catch Up.
Cheers.
How before we crack into the main topics of the show, of which there are some whoppers, how are you all doing? Let's have a quick kind of catch up as to how's your week's going. How is lockdown going for you? Is everybody hanging in there? Are you all suitably stressed out? And just how are you?
I don't know. I'm always stressed out. I've been in a constant bad mood for the past 36 years, so nothing's really affected me. Yeah, I'm doing okay, I suppose.
Yeah, we've got our video games, right?
Happening at work I'm not going to bore people with.
Yeah. Work's incredibly difficult right now for a lot of us. Jamie, you're still trucking away okay, aren't you?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I'm sorry. I think Chris might be my spirit animal because bad mood for 36 years is basically my brand.
I wish I was 36 years. Can you add another 5 onto that, and then we'll talk about being in a bad mood?
Yeah, but we talked about this. You look younger than me, and always will. This is a face you can only describe as lived in. So. But no, just it's been the same as ever. I've just been sat around the house trying to do a bit of work, getting distracted by World of Warcraft, playing that for 8 hours, and then wondering why I'm tired. So
it's so true.
About it.
It's so true. So
that and Hydroneer. I have a new addiction, by the way.
What's that?
I recommend it. Hydroneer.
What's that? Tell us all about it.
It is basically Minecraft with better graphics. And you dig, you mine, you build. You can build machinery that harvests resources and stuff for you. I watched, and this shows how impressionable I am and how powerful YouTube is. Okay. Callum, my youngest, watched a video near me of someone playing Hydroneer. I wasn't even watching it myself; it was just on.
Okay.
And I sort of glanced up and looked, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." And by about an hour later, I had bought it on Steam.
Right.
And was already digging a huge hole in the ground looking for gold. And I've put in 56 hours over the past week, apparently. So, which I didn't know until this morning when I checked Steam. So, yeah.
Well, that's why you're going to bed at 5 a.m. instead of getting your, a sweet lullaby, sang to you.
It may have contributed. So, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's a good time waster. So
awesome. So lads,
what about you, Ross? How are you doing?
I'm good. I was chatting to Jamie just whilst you were making a cup of coffee there. Similarly, it's been a very, very stressful week, but both kind of personally and both work wise as well. But we got through it, and the weekend is looking rosy. And I'm doing the breakfast show, which always cheers me up. It kind of distracts me, and I've got awesome people to chat to as well, which is always something that I'm very, very thankful for. So we get to talk about video games, and it's sometimes just nice to talk about something that ultimately doesn't really matter and just kind of distract yourself. And it's why we love video games, right? So it's I'm
True.
just glad for this year to basically be over, and I think everybody is in that same boat, that same feeling as well. So yeah, so shall we crack into the tiny, insignificant little bit of gaming news which dropped on I think it was Monday at the beginning of this week. Was it Monday or was it Tuesday? I can't remember now.
Was there gaming news?
Apparently,
Is it even worth talking about?
I mean, I'm dragging the bottoms of the barrel here, trying to look for headlines to talk about. It's been a challenging week, but apparently Bethesda got bought out, and not by Sony.
What?
And not by Sony either.
Come again?
Microsoft now own Bethesda, or ZeniMax actually, ZeniMax Media, the parent company of Bethesda Game Studios and all of their other studios. So, fuck. Just a small bit of change. 7.5 billion.
Yeah, apparently they only just outbid Alan by about 0.3 billion, so he was quite pissed off.
So you know what Alan would have done? He would have made all of them PC exclusive and like blocked out all of the consoles. He would have
just had them working on 2 Human 2.
Can you imagine?
I know he's watching.
Can you imagine a ray traced version?
Bigger than the Star Wars franchise.
Honestly,
there'll be no living with Alan if that ever gets a sequel.
I've still got my sealed copy of 2 Human up on the shelf somewhere. I was going to open it and then get Alan to like join me for a commentary playthrough of it to talk me through all the nuances of this classic, this coveted, underrated masterpiece of a game. But I'm also on the thought, well, he was like, no, don't open it. You can't ever open that now because it's so like rare. It is.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the Ark of the Covenant now. I should bury it somewhere. And then hundreds of years from now.
That's one way to say it. That's one way to say it. Don't play it.
Yeah, I was with you up till bury it. Bury it definitely sounded good. But apart from that, I'm not. But no, yeah. The Bethesda. Yeah, that was a
bombshell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just to put it into context for our viewers. So $7.5 billion is what cash apparently as well. It's not like a $2 billion in stock and like the rest in shares or whatever. In cash. So Disney bought Marvel for $4 billion, and Disney also bought Star Wars for just over $4 billion. So $8 billion for Marvel, all of Marvel, and all of Star Wars, and then Microsoft swoop in for ZeniMax for $7.5 billion. So it's almost comparative in terms of monetary value as to this acquisition is just insane. Absolutely insane.
It's absolutely nuts. It's spare change for Microsoft as well.
Well,
they could easily do that 10 times over. I was really surprised by it, actually. I think there's been a lot of talk about exclusivity now. Which I think, I don't know. I don't think Microsoft will go down that route. I don't think.
Yeah.
I think they will for a few titles. I think maybe they've got Starlight possibly in the back of their minds as a kind of Xbox exclusive. But I think to piss a lot of people off, I don't think they're going to make the likes of Doom, Wolfenstein, all that kind of stuff exclusive to Microsoft. There's no way they would do that.
Jamie, what are your thoughts on that?
Punch my microphone. No, I don't. I think Microsoft are more sensible than to lock it behind exclusivity. Although I have a vague fever dream from last night at some point during my lack of sleep of someone telling me that they have confirmed one title, or not confirmed, but heavily hinted. I cannot remember which one it was. This is how useless I am at night. But there was a... Yeah, no, I think they've got more sense because this is there are some hugely popular game series, obviously, that are coming out of Bethesda. To turn around to a part of your market and go, and you can't have them anymore, doesn't seem like the most sound money-making plan to me. So and Microsoft do like money, so I would imagine, I think what we might see is more like timed exclusive or extra content for Xbox. So it'll be like, oh, you get this extra skin, you get these cosmetics and things like that, which might sort of draw people in. But they're not gonna. I really, really would be surprised if they actually made it any sort of exclusive.
I would
apart from a handful, like you said.
I would be genuinely like stunned if they do lock them off. I know they could easily say, okay, Elder Scrolls 6, and Doom, Wolfenstein, and like the big hitters, they could say no, they're entirely for Xbox now. But as Jamie just said there, PS4s this generation are over 100 million units. You're not going to alienate that audience and that amount of sales because, yes, Sony will get a percentage of all sales on that platform, but a part of the licensing deal, Microsoft will get probably a bigger percentage of all the sales from that. So you're from a purely business standpoint, I don't see them locking off those big titles, those big IPs exclusively. I can see the options for maybe like a timed exclusive, or whether if it's not a timed exclusive and it launches at the same time on PS4, PS5, Xbox, Series X, etc. But I can see them saying, well, they're all coming to Game Pass, so you've got that. You can get them all for free, or you can buy it on your preferred system. But I just don't see them saying, no, you're not. We're going to slice off that entire revenue stream just to spite, or just because it's an acquisition. And I know there's been a lot of back and forth on Twitter and stuff like that. Well, if the roles were reversed, I think probably Sony absolutely would just lock them off. But this is Microsoft. There is a very different strategy from buying up studios and making those games exclusive. This is not Sony buying Insomniac and saying Spider-Man is exclusive, and then any licensing deals with Spider-Man featuring in other games is only for Sony fans. Microsoft's mentality and Xbox platform is totally different for like gobbling up studios, gobbling up publishers. And the fact that Game Pass exists is they're trying to get it on as many systems as possible. It's on PC, obviously. Timed exclusive, I can see going for, but to make them fully exclusive, I don't buy it.
No.
I mean, yeah, maybe wouldn't be surprised, but for Elder Scrolls 6, I would be shocked if that was entirely exclusive.
No, I
Yeah.
don't.
I
Probably go
after you.
There's an age before. No, I was just saying, I just don't see it happening. I mean, I keep looking at. I mean, it's not the best example, probably, but look at obviously Minecraft is Microsoft owned, and it's everywhere, and it's making them a fortune. I would hope. If it's not, then they've done something seriously wrong with Minecraft. But I can see perhaps the one that keeps coming to mind, and again, I'm full of useless analogies, but the one that keeps coming to mind is the Call of Duty series, where because they've got a nice deal going with PlayStation, you tend to get that whole, and PlayStation users are getting this level for a month ahead of Xbox and stuff, which has always stung a little bit, but I can that
especially
kind of thing.
the Modern Warfare release, the remastered Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Like
that does piss a lot of people off, and I can see Sony still sticking to that mentality, probably like definitely going into PS5. But Phil Spencer has always said that exclusives are like really anti-consumer, and I know the arguments for having exclusive titles on your platform. That's what ultimately sells the platform. Of course it does. A platform needs mascots, but when it comes to third-party titles, especially games that have historically always been third-party titles, like Elder Scrolls, Starfield is a big unknown at the moment. It's so far away, we don't really know. I can see that going exclusive. That's its own thing. It doesn't have a history in gaming culture, really. But where am I going with this? The exclusives for third-party games, like the Call of Duty like deals, like these 30-day or 2-month, whatever it was, early access, or get it first on PlayStation, I'm sure they probably will. And I wouldn't even really be that bothered if Xbox say, okay, like Elder Scrolls 6, like for 6 months or up to a year, Elder Scrolls 6 is here, you can get it for free on Game Pass, and then it will eventually come to PlayStation 5 and like whatever, like Stadia, whatever they want to put their games on, whatever platforms are existing at that point. You know, we've got the new Amazon Luna, which we can maybe talk about a little bit later as well. Again, it's a new platform, a new emerging platform that they'll probably want to get the Game Pass onto at some point maybe as well. So it's just very, very interesting that, nobody batted an eye really when Final Fantasy VII, got exclusivity. The remake, I should say, that got exclusivity for PlayStation 4 back in February, I think it was, and it's still not out on Xbox. And Xbox fans are still not getting to experience that remake, and I think it's like another year or so before they probably will. So it's a different strategy.
Final Fantasy 7. I think with Final Fantasy 7, it's kind of associated with PlayStation, though.
It is.
Even though the series itself is it's compatible with every kind of piece of platform out there, but I think with Final Fantasy 7, it's struck a chord with people in PlayStation because it was technically, well, it wasn't a launch title for the original PS back in '97 or '96, whenever it came out, but it's just one of these things that's associated. And I think with Microsoft, I don't know, they can do whatever the hell they want with it. It's their money.
Sure,
They spent $7.5 million on Bethesda, but I think there might be something with the Elder Scrolls there that will give them the advantage, and I think they will do a timed exclusive with that. They've done it before. They've done it with was it Rise of the Tomb Raider?
Yes.
I think,
So that's a really good actually analogy, because that got such bad press for Microsoft and Square Enix, because the first reboot was multi-platform. It came out day and date on all the systems. But when they announced that Rise was a timed exclusive for Microsoft, great get for Microsoft. But holy shit, did that backfire for not just Microsoft but for Square Enix, and ultimately the sales of the game were seriously damaged by that. And Rise of the Tomb Raider was not as big a title as it should have been, as it was expected to be. And at that point, I was predominantly a PS4 player, and by the time Rise did come out on PS4, I was less interested in it, because by that point, Uncharted 4 had already come and gone. Uncharted 4 had come out, and therefore PS4 fans had got this amazing experience with Uncharted 4, and then Rise of the Tomb Raider came out, which is always going to be compared. I mean, all throughout the series, they've always been kind of compared to each other. Like Uncharted was influenced by Tomb Raider, Tomb Raider reboots influenced by Uncharted, this kind of tit for tat. But because Uncharted 4 was such a polished experience, and the writing has just always been better, like so much better, that when Rise came out, it just couldn't really compare for PS4 fans. It was, despite being a great game, I know I'm going to get like shat upon like crazy in the comments for this, but I know Rise is an excellent game. But for the PS4 community, it was just like going downward, as opposed to building up to Uncharted 4. Having it first, getting your Uncharted fix before Uncharted 4 comes out, is a much stronger message to say, well, we've already got Uncharted 4, and now Rise is coming out. It's less appealing. So, yes, Microsoft have done timed exclusive in the past, but they haven't been. It's weird. It's a weird perception issue that it's accepted for Sony, but for some reason for Xbox, it's just not really accepted. And I don't really know why that is.
I think there's I've been talking about this at length with some of my friends about I have a huge issue with exclusivity on a personal level. I don't like it. I would rather every gamer get to play every game. I stick Halo on PS5. I'm really not fussed about keeping. There's no gatekeeping for me. I just think I love video games, and I want everyone to play everything. Just put World of Warcraft on the Switch. That'd be interesting.
Can you imagine that?
So I've actually thought about it for a minute there, and I'm surprised there's not a trickle of blood coming out of my nose. But the problem that I have with I have a problem with exclusivity, but there's definitely a sort of divide between what consoles are good for what, in perception anyway. Like we were saying, the PlayStation, generally speaking, has got the better library of single-player exclusives. Mm-hmm. Probably. I mean, you're looking at God of War, you're looking at the Uncharted series, and
you got Last of Us, you've got Spider-Man.
Last of Us, that was the one I couldn't remember. I mean, Spider-Man is the first game, I think, in years that made me look at it and think, damn it, I'm going to have to get a PlayStation. Because Spider-Man is my favourite comic book character of all time. And so looking at that, I was like, oh, I really want to play that. Yeah. But that's that. For Xbox, it seems to have always been better when it comes to multiplayer. Like, it's always had those options,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
Gears campaigns, the Halo campaigns, and all that. But that's, and I think as well, the other thing is they don't always think about the fact that exclusivity or no, while the PlayStation has a better library of single player exclusives and single player games, which I've missed out on because I don't have a PlayStation. I've not been a PlayStation owner since PS1.
Sure.
Because all my friends are on Xbox and all the multiplayer games that we play together were on Xbox, I was always going to go Xbox and stay Xbox unless something changed drastically. It was never going to be a case of me switching over, even though have both potentially, sure, but you're not going to drag my loyalty from one brand to another by saying, we've got Spider-Man now or we've got this now.
Yeah.
So I just think exclusivity is not the selling point that they think it is necessarily, or that some aspects think.
Yeah, I mean, historically, that absolutely was. But I think now, and even the past few years, with Microsoft really pivoting and shifting, that they are all about access and being like an amazing place to play. They don't even have to say this is the best place to play, whereas PlayStation still kind of latch onto that kind of moniker.
Yeah.
Whereas Xbox are just like, you can play here, you can play over there, you can, it's all about getting access to stuff. And that's why Game Pass is such a phenomenal like shake-up for the industry. And I totally agree with you. The exclusives maybe don't carry the same cachet of importance that they used to. I still think they are important, but I totally get it. It's like I would love to be able to play like for example, Chris and I, we've got like the Xbox One X, which is like the super version of the current generation of consoles. If I could get God of War playing on my Xbox One X, then that would be absolutely tremendous. If it could make extra power, extra usage of just that little bit of oomph in technology would be amazing. I mean, yes, we're going to get the PS5s, and these titles probably will get upgraded, but if we could basically, if it was more like licensing, where like I'm going to kind of use the kind of the Netflix, Amazon model for a little bit here, where regardless of your device, whether you're an Apple user, a Android user, if you're on a computer, a laptop, or whatever your device, that you just sign into your Sony app, your Xbox app, and then you get your library of games, like your Steam account, but you're accessing it from like whatever you want to access it from, and you just play on whatever device that you want to play it on. Whether you prefer the PS4 controller, whether you prefer the Xbox controller, that UI, that interface, that ecosystem, whatever, if you could play it whatever you want, then that would ultimately be like the best of both worlds. We're probably never going to get there, but Xbox is definitely pushing for that. And it's also why things like Stadia are so enticing to say, okay, I can just boot up a browser, I can plug in my Chromecast, I can jump on my tablet, I can just play my games wherever I want. They've got a long way to go, obviously, but Xbox are really forging ahead with this service everywhere, rather than you must own this piece of hardware, even though we do want to still latch onto the hardware that you have to have. But it's access like on as many areas or like opportunities as possible. So it's such an interesting shake-up.
Yeah, I mean, if you compare the Series X, the lead up to launch versus the lead up to launch on the One, it's a complete switch.
Yeah.
And how they managed to focus solely on, you don't need to have the best hardware right now. What it's all about is about accessibility. And I think that's where the Bethesda model comes in very well. A lot of people have not got the money or time to actually play these titles, and bringing it to Game Pass pretty much straight away. You've got Doom Eternal, you've got all the Wolfenstein series, you've got Dishonored. It gives people a huge library of games that they might not have been able to afford or have played before.
Yeah.
I think I've said this before, but I don't think there's a console war anymore. I really don't think that's the case. I think it's now down about to that accessibility, and that's where I think Xbox and Microsoft have got the edge.
Yeah.
Because it's about where you can play it.
Yeah, 100%, buddy, 100%.
The console wars live on in one aspect, though, and I think it's like that story about they found a group of It was a group of Japanese soldiers who were on an island and hadn't been told the war was over, so they were still
fighting,
hunkered in and fighting. Yeah, because you still get that. I don't understand the mentality you get when you see people talking online, and it's the old Star Wars or Star Trek thing or the Marvel DC thing. Like, there's always that rabid core of fandom that are desperate to be like, well, ours is better. Ours is better. I mean, people have said to me over this, so are you a Marvel or a DC fan? It's like, well, I've got this revolutionary tactic. I like both, and then I get double the comics. So I win.
Yeah.
And I've been the same with...
Yeah.
I've always been Xbox because traditionally it was a case of affordability. It's like, right, I'm going to buy one console, and it's not just affordability financially, it's time, it's all of that, availability to play.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm Xbox because that's where my friends are, that's where my games are, that's what I've got already. I've got that, historical library built up, etc. That's what I'm going to focus on. However, it sounds quite fickle. I'll move in a heartbeat if that's the best way for me to play with my friends and enjoy games.
Yeah.
I mean, at the moment, my Xbox is essentially a Blu-ray player because I'm sat in front of... This is where I live now, is this desk in front of this PC.
Yeah.
I genuinely, the other night, started looking at it thinking, if I could just get a recliner in here, I could sleep here.
Get a big lazy boy in there, yeah.
I play where... But the great thing is that because of the way that Xbox are doing it, I'm sat at this PC playing games with my friends who are playing on Xbox and also playing Games Pass games on my PC. Like, I've got this massive... massive avenue of accessibility. So
and
it's been amazing.
So you get Xbox coming.
To stick on to keep on the part of accessibility just for a little bit longer. We all think of accessibility as a financial accessibility route, but I've been seeing a lot online, which I hadn't even thought about before. It's actually the physical accessibility of a lot of games. So we're seeing a greater uptake with some games really pioneering with their accessibility options. Like, you don't have to tap the button, you can press and hold the button. You can have like autocomplete QuickTime event sequences. The Last of Us 2 really springs to mind for probably the most robust set of accessibility options I've ever seen in a video game, but other games are obviously doing...
That was phenomenal.
Yeah, like they have ones for even blind gamers to be able to play the game, which is just outstanding. Now, accessibility in Game Pass is something that Alana Pierce on one of her recent videos actually raised, and that I hadn't even thought about, and it's such a valid point where if you are a physical impaired gamer that doesn't know if this game has accessibility options for you, you wouldn't know that until you've bought the game. Whereas Game Pass allows you to just download and try something. It's like, oh fuck, I can't actually play this game because I have to like the inputs are so either timed or responsive or whatever. I don't have the physical ability to be able to play this game, and there's no options for me to tailor it. Whereas Game Pass elevates that and removes that barrier entirely, so there's no risk at all for anybody who is worried about, can I actually even play this game, regardless of if you're going to enjoy the game or whatever. And that is probably the biggest win that I think I've ever seen in the industry, and certainly, I mean, what a message there that nobody's really talking about. They're beginning to pick up on it now, but that messaging for Microsoft and accessibility and enabling gamers started really with the I forgot the name of the device. You know the device I'm talking about, the input device that they partnered with Special Effect for. But now they've got Game Pass as an extra like solid message for accessibility as well, which nobody's really picking up on, and I think that's just absolutely tremendous, really tremendous.
Yeah. Especially with titles like Doom Eternal and stuff that are coming straight to Game Pass. Only what, 6 months old? Something like that.
Yeah, came out in March. So I think that's tremendous. Absolutely.
Oh no, it's about that.
Yeah.
But that's now giving gamers with disabilities the option to try it, rather than, as you say, part with their 60 quid cash, then realise, shit, there's nothing here for me. No, I completely agree. That's something that should be talked about a lot more.
Yeah.
Anything that opens up games to more people is good. Like that's been my watchword for years, and especially because obviously you've talked about Special Effect there, Ross, and we've all been supporting them for years. The stuff that they do is incredible. I mean, some of the rigs that they built for people and put together, it blows my mind the things that they're able to do.
Yeah.
And you see the response of people who were struggling to maintain that connection to their friends with the same way that we all can with online gaming and things like that, and then now can and indulge hobbies. It gives you that little bit of connection with the outside world that was lacking or had been sort of restricted for you. So it's you're definitely right, and I hadn't even thought about that. I hadn't seen the video, but that is anything that does that is
and
A-okay.
And for any of our viewers who want to see that interview that I did with the rep from Special Effect, head over to youtube.com/gamertagged. I think it was episode 5 or 6. So check it out, and there's a lot of information there for Special Effect. Oh, Jamie, for shame! For shame!
I know. I'm repping and everything, and I missed that one of all things.
I'm repping my pals at Rebellion Studio today.
That's fair. Yeah, they're good guys.
Man, so do you think we're going to solve the console wars on this show today? I think we're going to put the world to rights regarding console wars. I think we have pretty much, haven't we?
I feel a wave of peace.
Yeah.
Just floating towards me from the internet that I think wasn't there before. I think we'll find after this. I think people will watch this, whether they're watching live or watching later, and they'll go to Twitter or Facebook, and they'll find it just a generally nicer place.
Yes.
With people just being much more accepting of others' views.
Yes.
I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Nobody will get triggered anymore, and no flame wars anymore.
Nope.
But we've managed to solve it.
Nothing but smiles.
Love heart emojis all throughout the comments.
Yep.
Absolutely.
There's a tiny part of me that almost wants the first comment on this to be on YouTube to be someone raging from one side of the console wars now after that heartfelt plea for peace that we've given out, and there'll be a guy there going, well, Microsoft can fuck off, and yeah, of course, there we are. And balance is restored. Thank you, Thanos.
Yeah, you can take your piece and shove it in your disk drive.
Yeah. Well, we tried.
So the next thing I want to talk about, if we can, is the pre-orders that went live. So before we jump into that, do you think it was a genius piece of corporate strategy to announce the buyout the day before the pre-orders went live?
I doubt it was a coincidence.
Yeah.
I thought it was just what do you mean it wasn't a coincidence? I thought it was. I just thought it was just random news from Microsoft. I didn't even realise that the Series X was available for pre-order on the 23rd. I just thought it was just a bit of news.
I want to believe in a world where Microsoft are so focused on the gamers that they're like, oh, you better tell them as quickly as possible about Bethesda, and then afterwards they look at it and go, oh, that was a happy accident. Wow, look at that. But unfortunately,
numbers are sold out quite quickly.
Yeah, that's weird. We weren't expecting quite that many numbers.
Oh man, we've crashed.
What a time!
We've crashed every single website. Whoops, sorry about that, guys. Yeah.
Oh, people who haven't been able to get the X are just ordering the S anyway. What the hell's going on?
I know.
There was the salt online was. You could actually taste it from people who, and I get why. I mean, I'm not knocking anyone for being upset about not being able to get a pre-order in. It is frustrating as hell. I've been there enough times myself. So,
yeah.
But you could feel that there was so much tension. It was. Do you know, it reminded me of when I was younger. I wouldn't say young, but I went to the Isle of Wight festival one year. I'd never done a big music festival, so I thought, well, I'm going to try it. And I remember sitting there the moment that tickets were supposed to be going on sale and broke my F5 key with the amount of, come on,
refreshing.
And managed to get in there. And this was... I actually felt like that again, and I wasn't even pre-ordering it. I was watching people who were trying to, thinking, yeah, go on, you got to get it, you can do it, come on. Ah, yeah, bastard. So it was definitely, it was an interesting time, but I think, I have to say, yeah, I think the Bethesda buyout news, and there might be some correlation there, just
Just a little bit, Did either of you manage to get the like make it through the pre-order fiasco and bag yourself a new console?
I'll give you this. It was a lot easier than it was for the PS5, but it was still tricky.
Sure.
I've got this thing in where I would buy the PS5 outright, and I
Yep.
would take advantage of all access, and that means I've got
Sure.
both consoles together.
Okay.
And it's affordable, which is great. It's another great thing that Microsoft has
Hmm.
done. But here's the thing: every single website, be it Smith's Toys, be it Game,
Yep.
that had access to that all access package,
Yeah.
no chance. Crashed from pretty much 9 o'clock onwards.
I think everybody wanted to try and get that route to ownership. Yeah.
I think it was an hour's wait on Game, and I thought, you know what, bugger it. I'm just going to go on Amazon, and I'll just get it. And okay, I'm probably spending close to $1,000 on 2 consoles, but it's been a shit year, so why not?
I know. End the year on something positive. I have a bit of a kind of confession to make, which I am embarrassed about. So I managed to order a Series X, which I'm actually really ecstatic about. I wasn't expecting to be this happy about getting a Series X. I thought it would be PS5, but I decided, I'm just not even going to try because it was such a mess of the way they announced it, the way they opened up pre-orders. I thought, I can wait, it's fine. But then I knew that the Series X orders were going live on the 22nd. I thought, I'm gonna try and get one. So I woke up on the morning of the 22nd. Pre-orders were apparently going live at 8 a.m. and then I think Amazon were 9 a.m. So I slept in. I forgot to set my alarm. I slept in. I got up at 8:30. I rolled out my bed, went on to the Microsoft website, and just thought, there's probably none left. I'm not going to be able to get the all access route. So I just went to buy it outright, or to pre-order it for buying outright, not to part with the cash straight away. Immediately just added it to my basket and processed the payment, done. I thought, what? What the hell? So I think nobody thought about going to the Microsoft, well, I mean, now they did, obviously. But at first, nobody thought about going to the Microsoft website to buy the console outright, essentially to the one big payment. Everybody wanted the all access route, as Chris was saying there. But they're also going to like Amazon, whose pages weren't up yet. They were at 9 a.m. And then like you've got Smith's, you've got Argos, you've got all the other retailers whose websites were just crashing because they couldn't deal with the traffic. But nobody thought about just go straight to the source. Go straight to Microsoft, and I did. And I managed to basically just like buy. Well, not buy. I keep saying buy it outright. It's the option to buy it outright when it ships. You buy it outright, but it's a pre-order, so payment gets taken when it's shipped. So it's just that option, and it just processed. I thought, holy crap, that was easy. That was really easy considering how much of a mess PS5 was. And so I feel a little bit embarrassed about that, because I saw a lot online. It's like people can't get it, websites are crashing, and there may be more stock coming in. I thought, shit, I not only did I sleep in, but I literally just took like 5 minutes to go to the website and buy it. So
Beat the system.
Sorry, whoops.
I think you are incredibly brave to admit that live on the internet.
Yeah.
I think there will be. In a moment, I think I can hear the stomping of the crowd storming to your door in the background.
But there's been so much hate for the pre-ordering fiasco. I wanted to share a positive story, Jamie. That's all. Something positive.
Yeah,
a good experience.
You're right to do it. Yeah.
But I got lucky. I got extremely lucky. It was just, maybe there was like a break in people refreshing, and I just managed to sneak in at just the right time and process it and get it done. I was incredibly lucky, but hey, sometimes that's just what happens. And it's the first time I've ever had a console on launch day. Because I was thinking back about this. I don't know where you guys stand on getting new hardware day and date. But my Xbox One, I got, I think 6 months later when Titanfall came out. My PS4, I got much later as well. But even back a generation, for the Xbox 360, I didn't get that until the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion came out, which again was that like 6 months later, that kind of first wave of the big games coming out. And then back to the original Xbox, I waited a year for the first price drop, and then I got Halo for that. And then again, like a GameCube, a PlayStation, an N64, they were never on launch day either. And my Switch wasn't until Mario came out at the end of the year in 2017. So I'm thinking, holy shit, thinking about it, this is the first time I'll have a console actually on launch day. So
I think I'm the same, actually. And that's from both angles. What did I have? I had the PS2, and then obviously it was 360 and PlayStation 3.
yeah.
The PlayStation 3 was obviously delayed slightly, and I was really annoyed by that. So I thought I'm going to buy an Xbox 360, and then I started to absolutely love that system.
Yeah.
Never bought a PS3. Just completely skipped that generation.
Yeah.
And then it was probably about a year, I think, after the one was launched is when I got that. And I actually didn't get a PS4 until probably 2016.
Yeah.
So it was quite a long time for it. I was happy with Microsoft.
Yeah. The Xbox 360 dominated that generation. It was the console that was easiest to code for, easiest to make games for, and as we've mentioned with like the publisher deals that were exclusive to like Call of Duty and stuff, like Xbox had that in that generation. It was the first access for all the Call of Duty maps, and like you could even see at esports, like it was the Xbox 360 which was the console at all of the Call of Duty World Championships, and now obviously they lost, like for PlayStation 4 generation, they lost that deal, and it was an agreement with PlayStation 4. So it's but I've still got my Xbox 360 Elite down there somewhere. I'm sure it still works, but that was a tremendous console. I absolutely love it.
Mine is still plugged into my TV.
Yeah, DVD player.
I'm dual running the One and the 360 over there because I've got the Modern Warfare 3 360.
Oh, nice.
Which, pure luck as well. I basically my original 360 or my second 360, because I had one red ring on me. My second 360 died. The disk drive gave up the ghost, and something else was going, and it just died one night, and I was devastated because that was the only console I was playing at the time.
Yeah,
and so I was like, okay, that sucks. And then the same day, there was a competition in the newspaper, the local rag down by me, the Western Gazette in Somerset, which is the kind of, like, literally the kind of newspaper which is man falls off bench, film at 11. So they had a competition going to win the Modern Warfare 3 360.
Cool.
I entered. I think I'm the only person in Somerset who knew what an Xbox 360 was, apparently, because I got a phone call later that night saying, congratulations, we've drawn your name. Can you come in and collect it tomorrow? And I did, and they took a picture that never made it into the paper, which I was very sad about. But yeah, so I love the 360. But that was my first 360 was sometime after launch. My Xbox was, I think my Xbox One, so it was about maybe 3 to 6 months after launch. The original Xbox was about a year.
As a side ramble, did any of you ever have the HD DVD external drive for the 360?
Yes, I was just about to come on to that. The first film I ever bought with that, because it was a separate disc drive, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
The first HD DVD, stupid title, that I bought was Transformers the movie.
Yeah, Michael Bay, get in.
Yeah, it had to be. It looked great. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, then Sony went, nah, Blu-ray's probably better. I was like, shit, I've just hit 99 quid on this.
It was
about 5. I think it was about 5 HD DVDs that were launched, and then that was it. It kind of went the same way as UMDs on PSP.
Yeah, I considered. I mean, even back then, I considered getting it, and even at the point that I had my 360, it was already looking like it was a bad idea. So no, I'll hang off on that. There's a wee shop in the town here which is closed now, but for years, and I mean like 5-6 years, it was a DVD, like secondhand DVD shop, like a mom and pop CEX, and every time you went in there were 4 HD DVDs on the top of one shelf. Yeah. And one of them I couldn't tell what it was because it was so faded from being sat near the window. And they just sat there forever, and then the shop closed, and I'm pretty sure they never sold. They sat there until the end of time. So, which was the one thing earlier when we were saying about Microsoft being more sensible. There wasn't that my go-to whenever I defend Microsoft is always that in the back of my head there is a little voice that says, although they did think the HD DVD was going to be the winner, didn't they?
Yeah, it's
yeah.
the VHS Betamax, wasn't it? Really?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bless. Never mind.
And we all know why VHS won. Or do we?
Better marketing.
No.
No, actually, it was to do with the porn industry buying into VHS.
Ah, okay, yep. Of course.
Okay, that's fair.
Boogie Nights is
One of the
coming
great
to mind
driving
now. Yeah. It's like tape, of course. Yeah. Well, I mean, of course, that's whatever it takes, right? So what you're saying is, if we can get the porn industry to buy up a whole load of Xbox Series X's, then that will basically like win the generation, pretty much.
Yep.
Absolutely, especially if it's 8K ready.
Oh shit!
I think
I don't want to see
problem you're
that
gonna
in
have
8K.
there-
No way.
No, God no. I can't look at myself in the mirror, let alone look at that 8K.
The problem there is definitely that if the porn industry is going to get involved in any aspect of gaming, it's going to be Steam, because I've seen some of the crap that's on Steam, and I'm like, I bought a game yesterday, complete and brief segue, but I bought a game for £1.20.
Okay.
That Alan told me I had to buy and stream, called Last of the Waifus.
Okay.
Where you actually play as an anime, very anime-looking character in a zombie apocalypse. It looks dreadful. Cheap as chips, looks dreadful. And the first thing I saw, the biggest bit of advertising they had on the Steam page was just, there's nudity DLC. If you want to run around naked, and all the zombies will be naked and hot. I don't want hot zombies.
Oh dear. That's counterintuitive for what a zombie it really is, right?
Yeah.
So Jamie, tell me, is this game is it better or worse than that pigeon game that you streamed for charity on your big marathon?
Boyfriend. You have no idea the amount of requests I've had to do a third part on that, because I did a second one and I nearly lost my voice doing voices for those fucking pigeons. But that was an interesting one. This I haven't actually played yet. I just watched the trailer and bought it for a future stream, because I have a bit of a thing for awful games. And sometimes you find a gem. Like, to be fair, I picked up Aliens Colonial Marines because it was like, oh, this will be terrible.
Sure.
And actually fell in love with it.
Is it actually decent?
I picked it up post patch, so I accept some people had a very different experience with it than I did. But I hadn't played it when it was broken.
Okay.
But Aliens Colonial Marines, one of the best multiplayer games, one of the best multiplayer game experiences. I shouldn't give the game too much credit. It did have its problems.
Okay.
But me and the guys played it to death. So
how does it compare to Alien versus Predator? Because that was actually really pretty decent as well.
That was all right.
Yeah,
because the Colonial Marines section of that game was really good. I remember that being pretty decent.
That's probably the better game. I think Colonial Marines is one of those games that it was made brilliant by the company in which I played it. Like, we had a great campaign session on it, and it was good fun.
Yep. It's it's the kind of.
If you want.
Sorry, Chris, when you go.
I was going to say, if you really want to stream or give yourself a challenge on a terrible game, there's one, I think it's called Alkine's Gun, which is probably the funniest game I have ever seen in my life. It's a complete Hitman clone. But it is top-notch quality shite, and I highly recommend it.
I'll look it out.
Yeah,
I'll play anything once.
Or Too Human as well. There's that.
I'll play nearly anything once.
Yeah.
I'd like to retract, but actually no, I have played Too Human. I think I played it for a solid 6 minutes before I regretted every decision that led me to it. And
oh my God.
That was me moving on.
So, lads, we're almost at the end of the show. We've got a few more minutes. Before we wrap it up, I want to talk a little bit about the games that we're playing just now. Jamie, you mentioned that you're playing World of Warcraft and stuff like that. Let's just have a little kind of fun catch up as to what we're kind of really into at the moment. Chris, I'll hand it over to you first.
I'm still having major amounts of fun with the Tony Hawk 1 and 2 remake. I think it's probably one of the best remakes released this
Cool.
gen. It is absolutely phenomenal. I'm also playing, because I think it's next week or the week after, although I did see the Digital Foundry episode on it, and the tech stuff isn't great. I'm replaying Crisis 1 to 3 as well,
Okay, cool.
which
Nice.
can run on Xbox One. It's not as great as I remember, unfortunately. I know that's going to probably piss a lot of people off, but Crisis 1 looks terrible.
Is that the
through
original?
emulation
Is that
apps.
the original version, not the remaster, but just the original version?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
the kind of the version that came out for 360,
Sure,
which was
yeah,
the kind of
yeah.
semi-open world type.
Yeah.
I was actually a bigger fan of Crisis 2.
So was
because
I.
I like the verticality of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm going through Crisis 1, 2, and 3,
Cool.
because everybody loves a crossbow. And
Yes.
failing miserably on Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk, awesome. Jamie, are you playing anything outside of World of Warcraft?
Yeah, no, I've been moving away a wee bit. So I'm raiding 3 nights a week now, and we're mythic raiding, so it is becoming quite labour intensive to play Warcraft. A wee bit stressful as well, actually, which has been interesting. So Alan raid leads for our guild, and I had to respec completely from Frost Mage to Fire Mage, learn how to play again, get new gear, and I still haven't got DPS comparable to some others. And there are times when that character nearly got fucking deleted lately, so that was interesting. But generally, yeah, there's a lot of Warcraft. Hydroneer, as I said, which is just absolutely fantastic. I recommend that to anyone. And I think it's around like £7. It's not an expensive game, and there is just hours of fun to be had.
That's cool.
And then also just started playing. So I'm in a. It's weird. We're here talking about Xbox, but as I said, I haven't played mine. I've been on the PC. So, and most of the guys have sort of been shifting to PC, half and half. They're PC and Xbox at the minute. So we started playing Don't Starve Together, and started playing some Tabletop Simulator.
Don't Starve Together. I just picked that up on Switch because it was £4.49 in a sale, and I had I had points
nice.
on the Switch store, so I got it for like £1.20 or something. So
Nice one.
if that is, I don't know if it's crossplay, but if it was, then you need to kind of mentor me through Don't Starve Together, because I haven't tried it yet.
Absolutely, I will say that me mentoring you will probably mean at least dying and restarting the game at least 20 odd times.
That's true.
Our first experience of it last night lasted a minute before Al got killed.
Right.
I got killed trying to save him, and then we just quit and started again because it was ruined. So
that's fine. The other big ones I'm playing at the moment are Super Mario 3D All Stars on the Switch. So reliving Super Mario 64. I know it's not the port that everybody wanted, but it is on Switch. It does look good. It does look a bit sharper than what we remember. It would have been amazing to have a proper remake of that, like really, really well done with like Super Mario Odyssey graphics. Would have been tremendous, but it's not. It's still 4x3. It's a lot sharper, but it's still the great game that we remember. Bundled into that is obviously Super Mario Sunshine, which does look amazing. It's in full widescreen 16:9. The upscaling of that looks so sharp. But my all-time favorite Mario game is Super Mario Galaxy, and to play that upscale to 1080, running at 60 frames per second. I think it's the only one that does actually run at 60 in that bundle. But to play it with the Joy-Cons, you've got the Wii pointer controls and the motion controls, and it is just perfection. I absolutely love that game. But one I want to talk to you guys about is Hades, which came out on Switch last week. This is by Supergiant Games, who did Bastion, did Transistor, and Pyre. And it's just finally left early access. So this is the 1.0 release. It's out on console, just on Switch for now anyway. I hope it comes to other consoles, because everybody needs to play this game. It is a roguelike title set against the backdrop of Greek mythology, and it is absolutely beautiful. The art direction in this game is outstanding. If you're familiar with Supergiant Games' back catalogue of titles, then you'll get a really great understanding as to Hades being this decade-long development of expertise in the titles that have come before, and then all of that learning has been put into Hades for its style, its musical direction, its combat design, its narrative. It is outstandingly good, and I think it's about £17 on Switch at the moment. And it's being a roguelike. I usually hate that style of game, but what I'm seeing a lot on Twitter at the moment, and I do have to agree with this, is Supergiant Games have wanted to basically transform the roguelike and make it appealing to as many people as possible by not doing a traditional roguelike. So that's why the through story is so strong, the characters are so strong, because every time you die and come back, you'll get another piece of narrative, another piece of narration, or the characters will react to you differently. And the voice acting for like Hades, for Artemis, for Aphrodite, for Achilles, they're such, it's so polished for an indie title, and the combat in this game is so tight. It is so responsive, and I can't praise it enough right now. I'm addicted to that. I've done 11 runs, so that means I've basically died 11 times, and then you start over again with your experience, and you take another run at it. So it's all procedurally generated dungeons essentially that you go through, kind of like Game of Death style, where you escalates and escalates until you hit a boss, and then you go into the next tier, and then you keep going up and up and up to try and break out of the underworld. That's basically the story. Is you're the son of Hades, and you're trying to escape the underworld, but Hades won't let you, so he makes it progressively more challenging. So it's this narrative framework around a roguelike, which is what is appealing to so many people, and myself included. And I'm seeing online that a lot of people are saying it's like the game of the year. I wouldn't probably go quite that far, but I think it is Supergiant Games' best game so far. And I'm a huge fan of Bastion and Transistor. So
I loved Bastion.
Bastion was phenomenal.
Yeah. I can't recommend it enough. And the fact that it's so cheap as well is fantastic. And it's actually performs really well on the Switch. So highly recommend checking that one out.
So what you're telling me is that one of my kids is going to be without their Switch for at least a month.
Yes, 100%.
That's fair.
100%. Yeah,
that's fair.
So
that
sounds
whether
awesome.
They can cope with it, it's whether you can cope with that, and I'd probably gonna guess it. Yeah, you can cope with that.
Probably, exactly.
I could put a lock on their door. That'd be fine.
What, to lock them in, or to lock you in a room?
To be honest, whatever works at this point. That's definitely the one aspect of the lockdown that's been interesting, because is the amount of time that me and the children have spent together has just been, it's magical.
Is it sweet?
These are the memories you remember, Jimmy. These are the memories.
It's been like it has been genuinely lovely in some ways, because we have got to do stuff together a wee bit, and like I'm working on I've got a stream coming up where I'm opening about 120 odd Pokemon cards and stuff, and like my kids are both into Pokemon decks, and so we've been talking about that stuff. It's been nice, but at the same time there's always days, and I think they feel the same about me as well. There's days when you look at it, it's like, that's the same face. That's too much of the same face.
Yeah.
Just constantly
try and vary it a little bit, Jamie. Like put the cap forwards one day and then back the other day, and then switch it out.
I wouldn't even recognise myself.
You'd look like a trucker if you wore the cap forward.
Do you know? It's
there you go.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
10 years younger. It's like a Tony Hawk DLC character almost there.
Yeah, for an extra $3.49, you get cap points.
Yeah.
Oh, lads. Well, thank you very much for joining me. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Weekend Catch-Up Club, episode 12, brought to you live every Saturday at 10 a.m. If you've enjoyed this morning show, then please remember to give us a like, give us a share. And if you're catching up later on youtube.com/gamertagged, hit subscribe, ring the notification bell so you will always be notified when the shows go live. But until next time, take care, and a massive thank you to Jamie and Chris, who have joined me for this morning's ramble. It's been a lot of fun, lads. Again, thank you for joining me for this. I've had an absolute blast, and it has been a very fast hour-long chat. Hopefully, it wasn't too painful.
That's always a pleasure, mate.
Take care, everybody. Until next Saturday. Bye bye.